apples. What's your favorite apple and why? This week, I want to look at my top 5 and what you need to know before buying apples. Stay tuned. You may have heard an apple a day keeps the doctor away. I admit, I'm spoiled. If I look at an apple and it's supposed to be red and it's partly green, and you know what? It actually is cold. I don't really enjoy it. My standard of what makes a good apple has been skewed by over 25 years of growing apples and other fruit. And if I don't get an apple at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on the sunny side of the tree on a sunny day where the apple has been warmed all morning long, and if I can't smell it because it's warmed up and the aroma, I'll usually just bite it. It's not as good as it should be. I know what it should be, and unless it reaches that. So that's what makes my top 5. So we'll look at taste, yes, disease resistance, hardiness, and productivity. Stay with me. Number 5, Paula Red. These were historically, when it was an organic monoculture apple orchard that we had, these were my favorite tasting fruit. Taste is important, really important, but these tell a story of disease resistance. They're not resistant totally, they're not as susceptible. So these and Spartan were my 2 favorite because they resisted disease, they needed less sprays. Industry won't tell you that. When you choose an apple, how much sprays did it have? Well, the more resistant to disease the apple is, the less sprays. Remember that. Nobody else will tell you this. Orchardists don't wake up in the morning saying, "Oh, I love the smell of spray in the morning. It smells like success." They won't say that. They don't like spraying. In fact, they'd love to not spray. But we, as buyers of the fruit, can be discerning. And we'll say, "Oh, you know what? Look, this apple has some scab here." So you'd say, "Well, you know what? Because it's got some scab, you would probably leave that in the display case." Now, if you do, it soon will be that the stores demand it, and this was the progression. The stores say, "Well, we need fruit that's perfect." And so orchardists have sprayed to give you perfect fruit. You need to ask, what's the cost of perfect fruit? No spray. Fantastic. Perfect fruit has a cost. Ask yourself that and choose disease resistant as much as you possibly can. Number 4. These are Spartan apples. You know, Spartans? This is a fond memory apple, and it's really about productivity. You look at these trees. This is the old organic orchard, and it still has loads of fruit. These are older trees, over 30 years old now. But they are just machines, just producing. And it's kind of hard to take them off when they're so productive. You say, "I don't really care how productive they are. You're paying a price for the apples in the store." Well, for growers, productivity makes the difference between a profit or not. Because most fruit are sold about the same price. They're not a function of how productive they were. So Spartan had been my most productive fruit, most productive apple. And in the old orchard, I just grew fond of them. Like these are not resistant to disease, which is important, but they're not really susceptible. So it was the easiest fruit that we had, the easiest apple we had to grow organically in a commercial orchard before we got into disease-resistant cultivars. If you have a tree and you have lots of squirrels, productivity might be the difference between getting fruit after the squirrels or not getting fruit. But disease resistance is an important criteria, and we'll see that one next. Number 3, Nova Spy. Now we're into disease resistance as a really important criteria. An apple tree that is resistant to disease, like this one is, won't have, and in this case it's resistant to apple scab, which is the most common disease in eastern North America. If it's resistant, it's resistant. That means the leaf doesn't get it. That means the fruit doesn't get it. You know what that means? That means that this tree, if grown, even organically, or especially conventionally, will have a lot less or almost no sprays. You can grow this tree in your backyard, in your orchard, without putting any fungicide or anything that eliminates apple scab. That's a huge advantage compared to our commercial, conventional cultivars, which require fungicide. If you want to keep the doctor away with an apple a day, choose disease-resistant cultivars. Ask for them in your store. Most stores don't even carry them yet. Ask for them. Say, hey, why don't you carry Nova Spy? There you go. Ask them. And if you get them in the stores, you'll get demand from growers, and then they will put out less pesticide. It's a virtuous cycle. More demand, more growing, less pesticide. Fantastic. That's what we want. Number 3. Remember that. Number 2, Belmac apple. I want to point out hardiness and how important that is. If you're concerned at all about local food and you want to buy things locally, you've got to buy cultivars that are hardy for your zone, your area. In our zone, give you an example, Granny Smith, we can't grow Granny Smith here. So anytime you see a Granny Smith in the store here, you know that it's got loads, thousands of trucking miles. So choose cultivars which are hardy for your area, that you like, that taste good, that are disease resistant, and that are grown locally. So that's an important consideration, to be hardy. And especially if you want to grow it in your backyard, I'd say even grow it where it's one zone more hardy than where you are. Because the year that we're going to head back to glaciation, you want your tree to last just that much longer. Number 1, apple. It's all about taste. This is a golden russet, a tree that I planted quite a few of because when I first tried this, I went, oh my gosh, this is a spicy apple. This is really fragrant. Look, taste is totally personal. This is my taste. Yours is probably going to be different. There's over 10,000 cultivars of apples to choose from. So your taste is not going to be my taste, and your taste buds are not my taste buds. But in fact, my number 1 is not golden russet. It's the new replacement to it, which has been released by Agriculture Canada, called Renette russet. Ooh. So it's like the queen of russets. And it's disease resistant. A russet type that's meant to replace this one. And I got to try it once and I thought, I love russet. And I went, imagine now russet resistant to disease. This is fantastic. That's what we need. And so this tree will have, here's some apple scab on the leaf. The fruit don't usually have scab show up much. And so it's quite resistant in terms of the fruit to the disease, but the leaves are not. Taste. What's your taste? What's your favorite one? My neighbor loves green sour apples. I bring him some green sour apples. I go, I wouldn't eat this. I hate, it's like, ugh. But he loves it. So look, I'm not going to judge what you like, and you don't judge what I like. It's personal. For taste, that's one thing. Choose what you like. Try to remember that in every fruit you choose, there is the issue of disease resistance, and there is the issue of miles, whether it's local, so how much pesticide, how far it's come from. So you could make a choice that reduces pesticides, is a more local fruit, and that you enjoy. So start your hunt to find out what's your top 5 and enjoy the process of discovering which one it is. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye. Hey, please subscribe and check out our latest video. Top 5. Give me 5. 5 of these. 5. How do you do it?